Hi lads, so this is going to be the video, probably the last video that I'm going to make, and it's going to include how to set up for the drawings for your outputs in your portfolio. Alright, so open up to your assembly. Now I'm just going to do one example. So I'm going to do the example of the Woody's lamp and the guys who are making the Dunn Stores lamp. You can copy this. It's the very same technique, only we're using a different product. All right. So very same setup, and you can use the same techniques as I am doing, just to set up your sheet for it to look well. Okay. So it'll be the same kind of layout for both sheets, only you're using a different lamp. Okay. So go up here. So like I said, have your assembly open. Make sure it's on the default or the final assembly, not the exploded view or the cutaway or any of those. So go up here, down drop arrow, and make drawing from part or assembly. So drawing is open, press OK. Wait for your tab to come up. Now, it's really important that you select A3 ISO. Okay, so the reason for this is because we'll be printing off on A3 pages for your portfolio. Every page in your DCG portfolio will be A3 size, so it's really important to start this off. If you don't, I won't be able to reverse it, neither will you, and all of your good work will be for nothing. Alright, so this is just to start as you mean to go on, so just be careful and select A3 ISO, please. Okay, press OK. Now, so you'll see here that it has a border and that it has tabs. Okay, so you can zoom in and you can have a look at that. Okay, so this is what engineers use and some architects as well. So now we're pretty limited for space on the page, so we don't want any of this. Sometimes you might see on examples online school crest on it. We're not going to put our school crest on it. We want to just fill up the space with whatever we have, with whatever drawings we have. So like our isometrics, our exploded view, our cutaways, we want as much on the page as possible. Okay. Now, so what I want you to do when you're in here is I want you to right click the sheet and I want you to go edit sheet format. So this will highlight the sheet for you like that. So right click and edit sheet format. So then we want to start out here and we want to drag, so using the left hand button on your mouse, drag a plane across the front of it and it would highlight everything on the page. Okay. Then press delete on your keyboard and that will get rid of everything there on the sheet. Next thing we want to do is we want to exit it up here. Alright, so it's like exiting a sketch when we were drawing up the lamp, so we want to exit or escape from that window. That will allow everything up here, so in annotation and in sketch or whatever you need. Okay, that will, so by exiting it here, it will allow you full coverage to input whatever you need on your sheet. Okay, and if you press F, it comes up full size there for you. Now, what we need to do first is we need to go into model view. So this top left hand side here, so model view. And you can see because I have the assembly already open that it appears up here. Double click this pressure going into the assembly. And then without doing anything yet, just have a little bit of a look and a little bit of a browse into the headings, okay? So don't mind that one there first, don't mind that yellow box. So the reference configuration, so your cutaways are in there, your exploded view, your orientation here. So I'm just going to pull this across here for a second so we can have a look. Alright. I'll click on preview just so you can see that is in here. That's the current view from our assembly. Okay. The views, so you have over here, so you have your top view, front view, right view. So just go down through that. I'm not going to waste your time here. So you can see there that our display state, display styles. So you can change all of those. So have a look down through them. The scale is a big one, so we're going to be using custom scale. I think maybe a few times here, so just to know the difference between them. So use sheet scale, so you're confined to that scale that's shown. And if you use custom scale, you can go here and you can go user defined, so you can set your own scale and your own size there, and that's going to be a bit important there later on. The rest isn't really important. Okay, it's just everything else above that we'll be using. Okay. So just familiarise yourself with those boxes before you go on any further. Now we're going to set up we're going to set up some orthographics. So you can see here quite clearly that the isometric is selected. Alright, so the isometric. So we want a front view. So we want the elevation. So I'm just going to click here. That looks pretty good to me. That looks like the front. I know what that says right there, but that looks like the front view to me. Then the bottom we don't need. Now this is an American software. So I'll tell you about this in a second when I go to setup. Okay, now I don't want, I'm going to go down here to my display style and I want hidden lines visible, I think. No, but I'm just going to go with this one first so I can see. It's kind of hard to see. Like you can see yourself there. That could be looking from the back unless you zoom in on it. You won't really know. Okay, so just go with shaded with edges first of all. Okay. Now, so we definitely want the preview turned on, and then after this, I'm going to go with the right. It might be different for you guys, but like if I go with the front there, go with that either. I don't really mind. If you want to be different, it's absolutely fine. Like that could be considered the elevation as well. There's no issue. I think I'm going to start this as my elevation. Okay. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to select, because that's a little bit small, 1 is to 5, so I'm going to use custom scale, I'm going to use user defined, and I'm going to go 1 is to 3. Just see what that size is like. This is your A3, so this is the size of the A3 here, so that's taken up a good bit of the page, especially with the bloody cord. The cord is taken up the majority of it. Great. So 1 is to 3. I'm going to try 1 is to 2.5. See what that's like. 2.5. Yeah, that's not too bad there, is it? We can see on here. Right, so I'm going to drop that. I'm going to drop that here. Now, when you have that dropped, so when you have that dropped, I can bring my arrow or my cursor up, and I can bring it down like that. So now normally, so you can see there now that the drawing in underneath the elevation is actually looking from below the object. So this is a US edition, alright? So this SolidWorks is a US software, and their orthographics are different to ours. So when they draw anything below their elevation, that means that they're looking from beneath. And then if you bring it up on top, that shows looking in. So if the drawing is on top of the elevation, that shows the top view. So we're going to just bring that up, and we're going to drop it there for the minute. Okay. Then we're going to come back down. So just left click, just one left click. Then we're going to come in here to the left hand side, and we're going to create an end view, and we're going to drop it there like so. Okay, anywhere at all outside the page. So outside the page on top, outside the page here on the left, and then you can see another drawing coming up here to the left and to the right, but we're not going to do that just yet. So you can see that's a pretty cool cool view of it there. Alright, but that's enough for the moment. So just because it's an American program, that's the reason why their orthographics are different. So we're going to press, just get rid of that. So now, I'm just see here for a second if that'll work. So just press the OK button. Yeah, that's fine. Perfecto. Now, you can see the way a little cage comes up around each view. So you can drag that down by using the cage around it. And we can drag that over to the right hand side there. Okay, and just drop it into place. Now you can see there that the orthographics are taking up the majority of the page. Alright. Now, one thing that I'm after forgetting about is, so this scale might be a little bit too big. In underneath here, there is, so when we print off, there is normally always a print called SolidWorks Student Edition coming across the bottom here. So we have to leave the bottom left. So if you can see where the cursor is here, if you can see that area, in around that area we have to leave free. So that box part down the bottom left hand corner, we have to leave free. Okay. So 1 is to 2.5 might be a little bit big. Alright, so we might change that. So just press the green tick. Get back into it anyway by coming over here and double clicking. And I'm going to change that to hidden lines visible now. And the scale we might put 1 is to 2.7. Drag them up fairly close. I'd say that will do. Yeah. So let's get them in around right there. Now the fellas who are doing done stores, and you might find that there might be a different scale that will suit you guys. Okay. Again, hidden lines visible, you don't have to use hidden lines visible. If you want to do it in colour, that's up to you. It just looks a little bit different there. Alright. It's just this bottom part needs to be left. So just in around that way there, it needs to be left. Excuse me, it needs to be left clear because, and I'll show you inside the class what I mean. There's a print like a water, not like a watermark, but SolidWorks Student Edition comes out here in a little sort of a tab. And if you have anything below this, where the cursor is here, it will run into that print, and it doesn't look great. Okay. Now, next thing I'm going to show you is to go into annotations, and we want smart dimension. So you have to add in dimensions to each orthographic view. And please don't forget to do the elevation, the plan, and an end view. There has to be 3. So this works very, very simply, and you can click on the line. So that's 134, and we'll just drop that out here. If you want, while we're on this, that might be a little bit too big for you. If you want to go in here to other and change the font on it, so you go over here to the left or left hand side, go font and change that then. Maybe we'll try 2.5. That doesn't look bad. It's a little bit, yeah. So just change it because it might be a little bit too big. Looked like it was a little bit too big. You can go point to point. So like your part. So if I click on this point, if I click on this point here, it's 8. Now you have to go in each time, I think, here to change the font. So what did we do? 2.5. Where's the green tick? Okay. Then I'll just do one more, so you can do the radius. So you get the gist of that. That's fairly simple. And do that. Just do it nice and tidy. Make sure it's presented well. Okay, so could you do as many as possible? So we'll say maybe if you could get 10. If you could get 10 or 12 dimensions, just make sure it looks well and it looks tidy. Okay, that's all we're looking for there. So we're looking for as many as we can. So maybe up to about 10 or 12 on each. So the elevation, the end view, and the plan, guys. Yeah. So that's how to lay out your orthographics. And again, we want as much room on the page as possible. Okay. So when you're happy that all of these measurements are done and that your orthographics is laid out right on that page, we move on. Okay. So what we want to do now is we want to go back in. So when you're happy with those, all right, again, like I said, you can leave them in color or you can go wireframe, or I think hidden lines visible is good. That one looks really good there. The end view looks good. The elevation is a little bit messy. Plan is a little bit messy there as well, unless you zoom in on it. Okay. And that's pressing F up to full size. Okay, so back into view layout. So we want to go into model view again. Okay. And then your assembly is opened here. So we want to go double click into this. Double click into your assembly. Alright. And now we want to bring in a 3D view. So we want a very big one of this. So we want to go down, we definitely want the color turned on. So this one down here, so shaded with edges. don't worry about these for a second. So we want the isometric, okay, so 3D. Now I know a dimetric and trimetric, they will also give you, but that's, and we'll have a look at the dimetric, the trimetric, and the isometric. Yeah, I think that one is the nicest one. Alright, so we'll go with the isometric. Then we go down and we go to our scale. So use custom scale, user defined, and we'll try, you know what, I got 1.2 in, no, so use custom scale, user, so go 1.2. It's a little bit small, is it? Go 1 point, so use, just have a look first. So 1 is to 1.7, I would say. So we'll try that. Alright, so that's looking pretty good there. So again, you can drop that down anywhere at all. So you just drop that down over here where you're happy with it. And the colour that we're after using, you can see the way these little ridges can be seen, and that's really good. Okay, so either I'd say 1.2 or 1.7, anything between maybe 1.7 and 2 there will be good. But you can see now that the space is filling up. This chord is sort of annoying me because, you know, there's a lot of space up here that's free that we could use, but we're going to try and fill up all of this space anyway, guys, alright? Okay, so I'm going to try and move this up. So we'll grab it by the cage on the outside, so if you see this. So we'll move it up here, up to the top right. It doesn't really matter where you have these, as long as they're tidy and they're presented well around your page. So we'll just move that up here for a minute. Alright. And we'll press the green tick. Now I suppose before I go any further, I'm going to save this. So save as onto the desktop. Should have done this at the start. So woodies or duns, whichever it is. Woodies drawing sheets, because we're going to do another one. We're going to have two. So woodies drawing sheets. Save that onto your desktop. So components, documents, 1 or 2 components used have been modified. These components must be saved at the same time. So save all. That's fine. And we're still recording. Grand. Okay, so I want to go back into my assembly now, right? So go to Model View. So go back into your assembly here. And what we want to do now is we want to move this around to a different position. So I kind of seen something earlier on there like this. So you can see the underside of it. Or just move it into a different position there where we can get a better look at it. So maybe like that. Give myself a little bit of time now to do this. So I'm zoomed in. So just make sure it's different than the isometric. Turn it around. So something like that you can see the underside of it. Try and show off as much feature as you can, like that, and save. So save the assembly, like that. Okay. Then go back into your drawing. So Woody's drawing sheet, perfect. All right. Now, go into model view, assembly of Woody's. Now, what we want is we want to select current model view. And you can see quite clearly that the current model view, so if you select it here, you can see that the current model view has now changed to the last saved instance of us turning the lamp around, so I can see the bulb and I can see the underside. And if we have time, we might make, I can see at the bottom there, it's kind of annoying me now as well, there's no screws there, so we might just make a screw head just to go in there, alright, later on if we have time. Alright, so yeah, go back down here, and again, we probably want to get better size than that, so use custom scale, 1:2, that's not going to fit on the sheet. Okay, so 1:2. 1:2, so maybe 1:2.5. That's better, isn't it? It's 2.3. Going to be a little bit bigger. Yeah. It's not bad. So we're going to drop that there. Just one thing, lads, as well. No dimensions are to be added to your 3D sketches. Alright? Or these 3D drawings, rather, not sketches. So, no dimensions added in there, only to these 3 at the start. So there should be as many measurements as you possibly can on these. Don't make it look silly though, make it look presentable and well. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. I'm so tight for space here now. I'm just trying to move this around. So just the wireframe on the outside, or the cage on the outside, just to make it look good. Alright, move that here. Alright, perfect. Now, up here in annotations, we've been introduced to Smart Dimension, which is fine. Now we go to notes. So this is going to be really important to label and to name each drawing. So just go to note, and now you can see if I bring my cursor in, it will wake up an arrow. When I bring it out, I can just drop it here, and I can say that that's elevation. Press the enter, press the enter button. Press the green tick. And then you can move move that afterwards to an area, and you can make that bold. I'm sure you've up here do all uppercase use doc. So if you deselect that, you can go into font here. You can bold it there as well, just to make it a little bit more visible. Alright, and then you can move that then into whatever position you wish. Now I know I don't have as many measurements there as you, but just put it in an area there that's going to be seen, and it's going to look tight. And obviously elevation, plan, and end view. Don't really want any notes here on the orthographics, but maybe over here, just say for instance, you can start labeling the different parts, okay, and maybe some shapes on it as well. But there should be a good few notes surrounding each one. Now, what I would urge you to do, and I suppose give you a little bit of advice, go back to the examples that we have on Teams and have a look at the students' work, and especially their SolidWorks pages and how they've noted it. Alright, so that'll be just a little bit of homework there for you, about, you know, what to label and what to talk about. Okay, so if you go back onto those, and we can maybe have a look at them during class ourselves sometimes, but we don't want to be wasting any more time really. But there should be, like, the more writing you have, like have a healthy balance of graphics and have a healthy balance of labels as well. Alright, so have a healthy balance of the two. So we don't want it overly indulgent there with wordage and words on the page, and especially with, you know, there'll be numbers as well for measurements, for the smart dimensions. But yeah, my best information there to you is to maybe go and have a look at those examples and then see what the past students are after writing about and get some ideas from there. Okay. When you go into view layout, so this will fill up the rest of the page. When you go into view layout, we have what's called a detail view. So when you go in here, this will open up a pen and a circle. So what we'll do is, we'll just see if we can do this first. So we'll go here. So we draw a circle around, sorry, that's not good enough, sorry, so I'm just going to go into it again, press escape there, detail view. So just drawing a circle around this detail view here, and then that should have came out here, so you can see maybe it's just slow. So basically what a detail view is, now that's not coming up for me straight away, I don't know why. Maybe if I press the green tick here. Right. So basically what's supposed to happen there is, when you draw a detail view around that switch, it should have came up. So that area that I'm after sort of drawing a circle around should be magnetized over here. Now there's nothing coming up in that, so I might have to try that again. So I'm just going to delete that and maybe go on over here. So we might do a detailed view of the top. So you can see that there, that one worked. Now that's pretty big, so maybe we could scale that down a little bit. Maybe 1:5 is a little bit too small, 1:2. That's not bad. 1:1. Maybe we'll do 1:1.5. See what that's like. That's not too bad there. And to get rid of this here, so like that's just writing. So if you can, we might be able to just, you can hide that. So if you don't want anything, you can hide it, or you can double click into it, and there are ventilation holes. So vent gaps or vent holes, and use capitals at the start of every word. Alright. And we'll do another detailed view maybe of the rings. I don't know why they are not coming up. Press escape. Do it again. Maybe go down here. You might have a little bit more luck than me. These don't seem to be coming up at all. So you've seen how this one worked. So I'm just going to go over here. Bulb. See if this works. That one worked. So that's a little bit too big. So user defined 1:1, a little bit too big. 1:2 is fine. So again, we'll drop that in there. Press the green tick. Now stay at these. I think they should work. I was trying at home as well, and I got the same thing. I'm going to try it again. I'm going to try this switch. It might be because it's an all black background area, but it shouldn't. It really shouldn't. And again, lads, don't forget to note them. Sorry, I already. Now you can go into the annotation, like if you want. Like there's no problem, and it should come out. You know, if you want to drop that. Extruded cut, like. So just different notes. It'll take you a while, but just like I said, be patient, be diligent, and do it nice and tidy. So we don't want the detail in here. So we want bulb insert, bulb and bulb insert. And to move that, you can see by moving that, you move the writing as well. Will that move? No, it won't. There we go. So you can do that, dragging it up. So nice and tidy there, like so. Alright. And can you fill up as much of that? Now, just, I wouldn't go near this area here. Alright. I suppose if you maybe, no, I wouldn't. I would leave that. That's just wasted space there. If you can fill up this area, fill up any area here with your detailed views, lads, that would be great. Okay. So a few detailed views, the 2 3D views here as well. So your orthographics, your 2 3D and your detailed views here and on the rest of the page should fill that page up, and that should be fine. Don't go near this bottom area here to the left hand side. Okay. Now, that's sheet 1. So we'll save that because we have a good bit done. It's very good. And that should be saved onto your desktop, and that's the desktop there. And it should be saved then onto your USB. It's the wrong button there, sorry about that. Down. We'll go back in there. So make that page as full as you can. And like I said, there's nothing better than going back and looking at the examples that were done previously by students from last year and the year before, and so on and so forth. Alright. Now down here we need to add a sheet. Okay, so we have sheet 1, now we need to create sheet 2. So just click on that. So sheet 1 and sheet 2. Very same thing as before. We want to right click, we want to edit sheet format. That will highlight everything on the page. Get your plane, drag it over it, and press delete. So delete everything from that page. And your sheet 1 will still be there. Now you only need 2 sheets. Okay? And the 2 of those should be A3 now, because of that at the very start. So again, to get into your view layout, because there's nothing here, so they're not highlighted. The reason why they're not highlighted is because you have to exit. Alright. So go into view layout, go into model view, and we need to click in here to the assembly, and this opens up everything again. Alright, so just so we know, we can go back into your assembly here, and we can change it back. Now you don't have to, I'm just saying you can change it back to isometric after, just change it around and save. Always save the last position. Now we're back into our second page, which is blank here. Okay. Now, so we go to model view, sorry, back in here, so assembly, double click, start going out of it, sorry, my bad. Okay, so what we need now, we want to put in the exploded view. And tick this box here, show in exploded state. And if you've done 2 exploded views, now there's only need to put in 1 here, guys. Okay, we're only putting in 1 exploded view. And just hit down, because I think I might have told you earlier maybe to do maximum of 2 exploded views. If you want, 1 will do though. So we want to show in exploded state. Then we want to go down here and we want to select the color. See what the problem is here. Sorry lads, hang on there for a second, let's see what's up. So, just, I don't know what was up there guys. So if we go into model view, double click, go into exploded view, and the default comes up even when, now it might be different for yours, but if you look at that, that's it in its current state. Even when I have the exploded view there, that was happening a minute ago. Now it shouldn't really do that, but when I went to drop it on the page, the exploded view occurs. All right, so look, it might happen with yours. That never happened to me before. So the exploded view should show up, especially when you have it show in exploded state. So if you have any issues, come back to me with that, please. So we want to drop that on the page. We want it in color, and want to set an appropriate scale. So we want to use custom scale. Maybe 1:1 is too big. 1:2. Yeah, that looks good. So 1:2. That bulb doesn't look great, does it? I wonder why that's happening. Yeah, that's the graphics on it. Okay. So your exploded view should come out onto the page like that. I think that's proper. That is proper size. Or do you know what? We might go a little bit bigger. So 1:1.8. Press the green tick on that, and now the bulb looks bulb looks better like that. How it does? I don't know. Very strange. Double clicking into that again, and if you want to put shaded without edges, if that's happened to yours. Whichever one you think looks best anyway, guys, alright? So you go shaded or shaded and shaded with edges. Alright, whichever one you think looks best. Alright, so that's your exploded view from selecting it up here on the top. And then what we want to do is we want to put in a few parts. Just give me another second there now to have a look at my notes here. So, sorry now, not parts, we're going to do a detailed view. So, just say with this here. So if you want to make so there you go. And you might put that here and note it. So slot or switch. Now I'm just going to do a few examples. Again, go on and see what other guys are after doing on theirs throughout the years. We'll do another detailed view, maybe of, this is pretty good up here. The bulb, there's loads, lads. So I'm just going to drop that there. So do 3 of these and maybe a detailed view of, I don't know, do a bit on the switch there. I'm just going to see if you can right click on that. Now it's going to hide the whole thing, isn't it? Delete. Yeah. Hide. So you can hide that if you want. So I'll be getting rid of them. See the way they're all lettered as well, guys. So I'm not sure whether you can get that off. Oh, you can. Look over here to the left, so you can delete them. So you don't have to have, if that annoys you, you can go and you can delete those from it. Okay, so we're nearly an hour into this. Right, so there's our 3 detailed views. Now, next thing I'd be doing is I would be bringing in the cutaways. So go into this again and your cutaway 1. Now I'd just be bringing in a maximum of 2 here. Alright, so I'm just going to bring in this one and maybe leave that in a wireframe, just different, just looks different. So maybe try wireframe. Hidden lines visible might be better. Use custom scale, again we'll use a big one. Alright. So again, I'd be leaving that there maybe. Now look, it's up to you if you want to use the colour. It's not great, is it? The hidden lines visible. We'll just try the colour. It's not bad. wireframe looks good. Or hidden lines removed, sorry. What's wireframe like? Wireframe is not good. That is good though. I like that. And go to model view again and double click into your final assembly. We'll go cutaway 2. Cutaway 3 might be a little bit more. No. Just going to X out that for a minute. Go into it again. So which one is better? Cutaway 3. Yeah. So maybe put 2 cutaways in there. It can be different. I know they look kind of the same. Look, they're from the same angle. And then the scale. It's all about the size of it. There we go. 1:2. And we'll just move that up to there. Not to move it out of this corner. Remember that. Here, and then that just shows a little bit more detail in it, guys. Yeah. And again, make sure and go to annotation and note. So explain what each is. You know, explain the cutaway 1, cutaway 2, and you know, maybe just note a little bit about the drawing there as well. Again, go back to previous examples from last year and the year before that we see on Teams. Now to fill up the rest of the page there, so we have a few little spaces around, okay? So what you should do is you should put in some complicated parts, or just some parts in general. So we go view layout, model view, then go to browse. I'm going back in here to my desktop, and I'm going into so Woody's lamp student, and I'm going to pick out some parts, so the bulb insert. So I'm going to bring that in. Now look, go over here. You can put in a few of those 2D drawings if you want, just to mix it up. The 3D drawings obviously look better. So in color as well. So I'm going to just drop that here. So maybe bring in 3 parts. So I'll bring in this. Obviously the layout is very important. So go to browse. You should be still in this here. Going to bring in the arm. Going to maybe leave that in 2D, like so. And then model view as well, browse, and maybe the switch. You can see that it's filling up fairly quickly. So there's the front view of the switch. I'm going to go to the color, and I'm going to drop that. Do I like it in color? Yeah, color's not too bad. Whichever one you want. Color probably looks better. But you want to have a healthy sort of a mix there, you know, don't have it all in color. This is only an example. I'm not after labeling anything. You should have a lot more English, way more English on the page than me there. Okay, so on that page there, you can see that it's fairly full. You should have your cutaway, you should have your exploded view, and then you should have a few random parts, maybe 3 or 4 different parts on it. But fill up the page as much as you can, and you will get a lot more information by looking at past examples of students' work. Okay, guys? So that's it done, and we'll have a look then. Like I'll be going around and I'll be helping you, and I'll be offering more tips. But that's the basics of it as well. All right. So that's sheet 1 and sheet 2 done for you, and that's basically what you need over the 2 sheets to get you through. Okay. Thanks, lads, and just make sure to save that, save all, and thanks very much.